Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by TheLines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast, and we've got a ton of games here. Only two teams not playing in the NBA tonight, so we are going to be looking at best bets in this episode. Also got Playa Props up in a separate one, so make sure to subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along with us the rest of this NBA season and NFL season. We'll promo that for you guys as well and let you know that we have plenty of NFL picks for your Thursday Thanksgiving action. Probably throw some Friday stuff in there with that one game as well. But we're going to be getting into best bets here. Quick reminder as well that we do have that partnership with BetMGM right now. If you do not yet have a BetMGM account, go ahead and sign up using the code TheLinesYT50, and you go ahead and get up to $1,500 in bonus bets back if your first bet does not cash. Also get $50 in bonus bets regardless. So nice little deal there if you still need a BetMGM sportsbook account. Nate, let's go ahead and jump into your first play of the day. A really nice game here with the Thunder and the Dubs.
Yeah, it's a big matchup, but once again, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to take the best team in the West, -2.5 for the Thunder in a huge rest spot because, yeah, again, they didn't have to play much. They've played one game since the 21st. The Dubs are now playing their sixth game in that span, fourth in 6 nights. So, I mean, the Thunder, we saw that. They separated from the Kings after a close first half in that one game. I mean, just as important as the rest, though, is they have an Isaiah Hartenstein now. They have a center, a really good center, a really versatile guy, a perfect pick and roll partner for these two alpha guards, SGA and J-Dub, just killing it in these last 2 games offensively. The Thunder defense immediately regresses to being the best defense in the league on the road, which it kind of lapsed for a little bit, mostly struggling on the defensive glass without a center, as you might expect. But now you got Dort and Hartenstein clearing stuff out. I don't think the Dubs, I know they have a good offensive rebound rate this year, but they're not a team that I think is going to kill you on the glass or with second chance points. Dubs, yeah, they had to use some energy to try to hold on against the Nets, blew that 18-point lead on Monday. Steph technically questionable here. Kuminga questionable. Both those guys were huge in beating the Thunder on the road a couple weeks ago. That was a Sunday night. Chet got injured in the first 5 minutes. And we talk about this often. Like, there's a difference between losing a guy in the first quarter and game planning without him. And obviously now you have a center to put in the game plan and you know what the plan's going to be in terms of Hartenstein being in there. Also, just like huge outlier game. Dub shot basically 50% from 3, got 35 assists after Chet was out of there. OKC won the previous 3 against your Dubs and previous 6, 125 offensive rating. Like the Warriors with Draymond in there, out there, it hasn't mattered. They don't have many answers for SGA. Like what they try to do right is kind of what the Thunder can counter. They try to keep you off the 3-point line, funnel you in, maybe keep you out of the paint. And the Thunder are mid-range killers with SGA leading the way. So I'm just, going to take the better team here. Maybe the best team in the NBA, at least the best team in the West.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I still think the Celtics are the team to beat. I mean, I know they hold the belt, so it helps us like sort of just see them as the favorites again because we just saw them do it. My God, they just played with Kristaps, and they just look unstoppable. The Thunder, I want to see what happens when Chet comes back, but this is a good spot for the Thunder, to your point. I mean, I'm not going to fade Steph, and I think he's going to play. Kuminga is the one that's really, really important. If he does not play, they don't have that many athletic guys of that ilk, let's just say, right? Like there's not that many guys that you trust outside of he and Wiggins to be like a 6'7", 8" sort of tweener forward that can also handle the ball. You need that against the Thunder, who are going to be bringing ferocity at every single position. And the only one that's not going to have like a better defensive matchup is like Hart on Cat. That's where I think you can or not Hart on Cat, excuse me, Hart on down low. Like Hart should still own that. But I think when you bring a bunch of like smaller guys in, that's the only time that you might have an advantage in terms of the speed around him. So we'll see. I think the Thunder at 2.5 is a good play here. We are going to be seeing Steph, I think, in this one, but regardless, let me go to my actual team that I like, which is the Knicks. I probably watch the Dubs more because they're on late, but the Knicks are taking on Dallas. I like an over here. I think we're getting value at 233.5 because of what the stigma probably still is to a degree about the Knicks, and there's no Luka, and so you just think automatically that this Dallas team is just going to basically fold without Luka, especially on offense. Not the case at all. And even with Kyrie not doing much until last game without Luka, he's had 3 bad games, at least from a scoring perspective, without Luka. And this team is still averaging a buck 23 essentially without him in those 4 games. They've got 118 defensive rating, or excuse me, offensive rating. Defensive rating is not there. All 4 of their games have also been going over this total, closer to 240. So there's a lot to like about the value you're getting because Luka's out, and that doesn't really seem to impact too much especially the speed of the Dallas offense, where they're a little bit more liable to get into the transition, which is what they've done over the course of the last 4 games, getting out into that a lot higher of a frequency than they were without Luka. And so that also contributes to that. The Knicks defense as well, like they're 23rd in defensive rating. This is not the team that you might recall winning games like 107 to 102 with Jalen Brunson going to the free throw line 15 times. Like it's just not the same anymore. But they do have a lot more ability to get into the paint with guys that are not named Jalen Brunson, specifically Cat, obviously. And I think that's going to be where this team, the biggest mismatch that this team gets. Dallas, not very good at limiting centers right now. Gafford and Lively coming in, doing fine. They both, but one of them has been available for most of these games. But the points in the paint is where I expect them to continue dominating, and that's Cat, which is going to be at getting to the rim. The rim frequency for the Knicks is way up because it's not Jalen Brunson just hitting the little floaters and hitting the extended paint stuff this year. It's a lot more of them getting into the paint. We've actually seen OG do that. We've seen him shoot a lot lately, and he's been hot. Like there's no question he's been shooting way out of his, above his skis in a way. But at the same time, he also has increased his drives per game this over the course of the last 10. So it all kind of just comes together for the Knicks offense looking really, really good right now. And I think it's going to continue to gel further against a Dallas team that when they have all their studs, like they are a top 10 defense this year in the league, but just not against what this Knicks team wants to do. They'll be giving up some spot up. I like Brunson assists again because of that. We called that out the other night and he ended with 13 in that win against Denver. Dallas, similar defense, and just not really good at stopping point guards in general right now with their above the break D. And then, for Dallas, it's still just going to be Kyrie getting into the lane. This paint defense, as you would expect without Mitchell Robinson, not the same. On the season, 29th in terms of the opponent field goal percentage inside the paint. The frequency with which teams are getting into the paint is crazy. They're bottom 5 in the last 5 games. They are bottom 10 on the season for the Knicks. So it's porous. OG just doesn't look like the stopper. This is the eye test. Like the on-off defensive rating for OG isn't bad by any stretch of the imagination, but we just think of him as this shutdown guy, and he's playing guys that are bigger than him. He's playing the 4. He's not necessarily just getting these matchups where he can gobble up, wings that are a little bit smaller than him, and he just eats them alive. So it's not the same Knicks D, like I said, and I think that Kyrie will have a good time getting into the lane, find his guys, and we'll get this thing to about 240.
Yeah, the Knicks, 2 of their last 3 on this road trip have been in the 130s at Denver and at Phoenix. They're playing pace and space, and they're always thin, like every Thibodeau team is, so they can't bring much defensively, as you highlight. OG and Mikal Bridges, not the defenders they've been in the past. Also, injury report, very key here for Dallas. Derek Lively couldn't really go on Monday with his illness, it seems, and he's questionable again. Clay is questionable, and Quentin Grimes also has that illness, so maybe it's going around the Dallas locker room.
True.
Which could be an issue. But those guys defensively are a big deal. I want to see Najee Marshall props drop because that was my best look there on Monday, and I think I could go back to that again just because of necessity. Like they need somebody to score on the wing and play off Kyrie.
Yeah, like that.
So I like this one. I think I'm catching the falling knife here. Pelicans -2, -2.5. Depends where you get it. And if you want to pair the money line, I think the Clippers money line is the biggest lock here at Washington with the Wiz on a back-to-back and just not even showing any signs of beating anybody this year. And the Clips might get Norman Powell back. So that gets you even money on the money line parlay there. But look, I like the Pels. I think they're getting close to actually getting back in the win column here, but they're getting guys back. DeJounte Murray, namely, coming back. We still don't know exactly with Murphy, Ingram, Hawkins. They're listed as questionable, but they played last time out, right? They almost beat the Warriors on Friday at home. Now they come back home. Like they've been completely non-competitive on the road, as we've highlighted, like worst net rating in the league, not competitive, but so too are the Raptors. They are literally 0-10 on the road. So Toronto coming to town, -8.8 margin of victory on the road. They've covered some games, but they're not covering a 2-point spread, in my opinion. And a lot of it has to do with how bad RJ Barrett's been on the road since November 1st. 89 offensive rating. He is minus 101. He is plus 27 at home. He shoots 20% worse from 3-point range on the road in that span. The Pelicans also, I mean, granted, they had some more guys in there, but they're getting closer to this full strength lineup. Last year beat the Raptors twice by 38 plus points. Brandon Ingram torched them, 41 points plus 37. Don't mind his props here since he's going to have to carry a little bit more of a workload. Like, I know Zion, Joe Val were in those games. I know Toronto was tanking by the second meeting, but are they not tanking this year? Like, what are we what are we seeing from this lineup that is like actually indicating they're really going to have a shot to win most games, especially on the road? And yeah, DeJounte back, but also Elfrid Payton kind of fixed this offense by getting them some organization, right? We were talking about like BJ Boston is the point guard for a while. Well, let's attack his props, sure, but that's not going to drive winning. Like, you need an actual point guard. Elf goes for 21 assists, and they covered in Indy, to your chagrin, despite shooting horrendously from three, and they still rack up 21 assists. And now you face a Raptors defense that's just not good, especially on the road. Yeah, pick any stat you want; they should be able to kind of carve them up.
I see where you're at. I mean, I see what you're seeing for sure. I have zero respect for the Raps if RJ Barrett isn't scoring 35 points and just looking like, a different guy than what we kind of know what he is, right?
Yeah, and Dick and Quickly are both still out, so he's got to.
As we fondly know them as Dickley, they are both out. Yes, that's a pretty nice backcourt right there, and that's huge. And this is going to be probably pretty gross. Like, I still don't think that like CJ and DJ are going to come in and just like be gangbuster, look like this seamless offense, but they don't really have to be. And as long as they have an NBA roster of defenders on the floor, they're going to be fine. Also, got to throw Yves Missy into the conversation. They haven't bringing him off the bench, but this man is getting like a rebound a minute or whatever. Not even, like half a rebound a minute, basically every other minute. So like he's going to come in and I think be helpful against the Pirtle Club there. So yeah, I'm with the Pellies. I want to love this team. I think we all do, but we just need them to have their players, and they're starting to get healthy. So we'll see what happens. But also, Elfrid Payton, hilarious stat. If you took the implied probability of him to get 20 plus assists in the game that he got 21, the implied probability before, if it was correctly priced, would have been 7 million to 1 that he got 20 plus assists. Someone did nerd it out enough to find that. So that's how unexpected that was. But let's look at Detroit, Memphis. I think we're getting value similarly in a reverse manner to how we're getting value on the total for the Knicks and the Mavs to go over that. I think we're getting similar value here with perception being incorrect with Memphis and Detroit. And you can go under 225.5 on the total there. Detroit without Cade now, it's bad. It's 2 games in a row, 101 points per game and 112 rating. Playing super slow. They've been playing slow all season. Bottom 3 pace in the league without Cade. Same concept. Look at who they played. Okay, they played Orlando, slow team, bad, awesome defense, like awesome defense. Score 100 points, give up 102. All right, whatever. 102 versus Toronto the next game. What's your excuse there? Like, how are you just the offense is clunky. We've been talking about Jaden Ivey consistently. He dimed up kind of last game. I don't know who the point guard is without Cade. There's no identity to this offense, and it's just difficult to watch. I don't know that I will be, but I like the under. I think this game should be at about 220.5. Ja's out, and this is, I think, where the biggest value point for us comes and the biggest disparity between my projections and what the books are holding right now. And that's that this offense looks good without Ja. I looked it up and it was like, holy crap, 122 points a game in the 9 games without Ja. It might sound crazy, but legitimately look at the 9 teams that they played. Chicago twice, Denver twice without Joker. One of those went under. Then the next game, Denver came back pissed and played even faster, played like 104 pace. Portland, Washington, the Dubs played a top 5 pace. And that's it right there. But there's like all the teams they're playing. They played once against Philly when they had JoJo out there. So the offensive rating for them, I just think is fool's gold against Detroit. That's better than we all realize defensively, because we still think of them as a sieve, and they're still in the top half of the league in defensive rating. They're going to keep playing at this slow pace as well, which they've done with Cade and without now. So I like that to be the case. I know Memphis is running up their pace a lot more this season, but the fast break is nothing without Ja. If you look at the transition frequency and efficiency as well, when Ja has been out in these 9 games, they're a bottom 10 team in transition efficiency and frequency. So there's still the ability to like get that value from Ja being out and them actually playing a little bit slower. And for their defense, I don't know how Detroit is going to find ways to score with the way that they're pressuring the ball up top. If they don't have Tobias Harris as well, I don't know that I've said this too often in my life, but if they don't have Tobias Harris, then they also don't have a big man who can continue the offense by keeping the swinging of the ball and can actually play a little bit of playmaker as well. Not that I would really look for him to be getting too many dimes, but he's still a capable playmaker to have the ball in his hands. If he's out as well, like I truly don't believe, like this offense is just going to look even worse. So I'm going to go ahead and just take the under 225.5. I think, like I said, this is about a 5-point bit of value that I'm getting.
Yeah, I'll trust you on that. I mean, I don't know how much I want to read into the last result for Memphis, putting up 123 on Portland, excuse me. It seems like they just kind of have their number. I don't know if they could explode like that against this Detroit defense, which has been a lot more solid in the margins, like you mentioned. I would look at an under as well for Portland, whether it's that game in Indy or their team total at 111, with Jeremy Grant not going to play. Ayton gonna play, but who knows with him? Scoot Henderson, not gonna play here. Clinging out, they've pretty much lost the shine after Chauncey Billups called them out, and they haven't even been scoring in that span, right? So they got under that total 6 straight, 7 straight, 8 straight. Yep, just keep on going down. No, it's just they don't get to this number. And Indiana's been better defensively lately, especially at home. Even without Nesmith, I don't think they're going to miss him as much in this one.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, Indy's actually been playing a little bit more slowly lately. Their team total is at like 121.5 or so in that game that they're expected to blow out this team. I think under. I lean under in that game in general, but I don't trust Portland to stop Indy. So I think that would be how I would be playing it as well. Only thing too is Rob Wills. I ended up staying away from that game, but I would be leaning to the under on the team total to your point as well. So that's all the time we have for you on Best Bets. Make sure you are subscribed. Check out the play of props that we have for this giant Wednesday slate. Until we see you next, happy betting.